You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rain.
Welcome to Foo Bar, One Nation Under Foo, and I am your host, The Foo, and we are coming to you live from Bunny or Foo Studios on KLRNradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. And boy, howdy, do we need some liberty and reason these days. Holy cow. I hope everyone is having a lovely, hot July day. You know, I gotta tell you, living in Wyoming for as long as we did, I think I got really spoiled because we would get hot, but it was just like, hey, it's hot. I'm not going to combust or anything. But you people in these areas where there's humidity, this is crap. Just so you know, it is bull crap how hot it is here. And I won't spend the entire hour complaining about how hot I am, but it's hot, like Africa hot. Do you remember that line from, what was it, Good Morning Vietnam? He says, it's hot. It's Africa hot. Well, that's where I'm living in. It's Africa hot. But it's great to be here with you guys live tonight. Awesome. In fact, it's been a whole week since we got to talk, and so much is going on. I have to actually start out with talking about George Romero, who passed away from, I guess it was lung cancer at 77 a couple of days ago. And George Romero was, of course, the father of zombies and a master of horror. And I have to tell you, he's one of the reasons that long time ago that Bunny had a chainsaw and that Bunny was homicidal and that Bunny was scary was because little Bunny Foo-Foo, when I was little Bunny Foo-Foo, George Romero and zombies were like my thing. Way before the zombie craze, way before it was hip to like dig on zombies, I was all about zombies. I was that weird, girl in the corner who liked to read zombie comics. Anyway, Romero probably played a huge part in what I do today and who I am today. And I know that's really scary, but it's awesome. And I was very, very sad to hear of his passing. So here at the Bunny Show, we're going to give him a shout out and a good rest in peace, George. You will be missed. Okay, so I got to go on to what I've got my show on tonight. Later on, we're going to have Momo and Jen. They're going to come on from Misfit Politics, and we're going to talk about the importance of conservative women. And what's interesting is I planned this show a while back. I actually wanted them to come on like 2 weeks ago, and they were so busy living their lives that they couldn't be here. But what's interesting is I wanted to talk about conservative women and conservative policies and being a conservative woman long before Linda Sarsour or any other crap with the Women's March came to a head. Granted, we've known they've sucked since they started. It's been 6 months now since they had their first gathering, their first protest, their first march, where they sat around in their little pink vagina hats and their glitter glue signs and talked about how horrible it is to be Americans. It was really stupid. But, it hadn't come to a head yet with Linda Sarsour. But even before we get to Linda, who we'll talk about at great length, I'm sorry, but it's true, I got to talk about what I saw this morning when I woke up. I tend to kind of wake up and roll out of bed, and I'm getting to the point where I'm so old I have to kind of wake up before I can read anything. And please don't try to engage me before I've had coffee because I can be a real horrid bitch. But I did get onto my timeline. I was reading through it, and I saw Alyssa Milano interacting with Kira Davis. Now, I don't know if you know Kira Davis, but she's a lovely conservative lady who has very popular columns and blogs all over the place. And Kira was talking to Alyssa, because Alyssa was saying how we need more Republican women in Congress because, these women had defended the people against evil Trump care, Collins and Murkowski or whatever. And so it was this big deal that Republican women should have more of a presence. And Kira's like, hey, it is really hard to be a Republican woman or a conservative because we get treated like crap. We get threatened. We get harassed. We get all kinds of nonsense. And Alyssa actually seemed surprised, which I was like, really? Come out of the bubble, honey. But it was interesting because then she asked how horrible it was, and she couldn't believe what she was hearing. And I don't know, again, if she's just living in this Hollywood bubble, but plenty of conservative women were more than happy to say, yeah, this is a reality of who we are and what we deal with every day. And what was really funny is as we're having this conversation on this one thread, these other horrid bitches on the other thread from the liberal side are like, we can't have Republican women because they vote against our own interests. Boom. Which was exactly what we were saying, that's all we ever hear from other people, is that Republican women are anti-woman and that we vote against our own best interests. Because apparently they know what my own best interests are. This makes me insane. So here we have a Hollywood elite saying, hey, we need more Republican women. And then we have these liberal bitches saying no because they're awful people. And here is our disconnect within being women. You know, we have Women's March, right? And somehow this is expected. This is accepted. This is what women supposedly should be doing, is marching around with terrorists and cop killers and Sharia sympathizers and talking about the wage gap and racism and sexism and Islamophobia and homophobia and dinosaur phobia or whatever phobia is out there today. That's what they expect from women. They don't expect us to care about the budget. They don't think we should care about security or job growth or the economy. Apparently, all we should care about is our vagina and the uterus inside, and that we are somehow free to make bad decisions and make someone else pay the ultimate price for our decisions. You know, the big old golden calf, abortion on demand, which makes me also insane. You know, they forget the point. When it passed and it was legal, it was safe, legal, and rare. Rare. They forget the rare part. And then when you point that out, you know, that's when you're anti-woman. Apparently wanting women to make better decisions about their bodies makes me anti-woman, which I still don't understand. That I think women are better than they do, that I expect more from women, that I don't think we should cruise through life because we have boobs and a vagina and get treated as a special class of people. That makes me anti-woman. You know what? If that's anti-woman, I'm anti-woman, because I cannot stand the notion that we are so weak, these perpetual victims, that we need to have abortion on demand. We need to have the government out there telling employers they have to pay us more because we have boobs. I can't deal with that. If that is being pro-woman, pretending women can't and aren't and won't, then I'm always going to be anti that. So I am the anti-woman conservative, I guess, because I'm never going to be the other way. You know, and that kind of leads into the whole Linda Sarsour and the Women's March wishing and celebrating cop killer Assata Shakur on her birthday. You know, and then they were like, we're the victims. Don't be pissed at us that we talked about this horrible woman who killed a father of, 2 or 3? It's horrible. And, we don't agree with what she did, but, she's an activist, rah, rah. Oh, you're all pissed at us because we like her, our bad. And then it became a 20-tweet storm about why it was okay for what they did. Always pushing this bullcrap that they are nonviolent. Right. Nonviolent. Wanting to take women's vaginas away from them because you disagree with them is nonviolent. Wanting to kick a woman's ass because she disagrees with you is nonviolent. Right. Celebrating a cop killer is nonviolent. You know, who are these women? And then, I'm sure you saw this because it made the news, Jake Tapper was kind of blown away like most sane people were. And he said, hey, where are the progressives calling out this crap that these women are supporting? Where are the people saying this is wrong on the left? Because, you know, the right was all about this is wrong, this is awful, shame on you for pushing this, right? And so Jake said, well, you know, they got a point, so where are all these people? And then he even went so far as to tag Linda Sarsour, who got all bent out of shape because, you know, she's always the victim, and called him alt-right. Jake Tapper, alt-right. OMG, folks. I don't think I've laughed that hard at Twitter in a long, long time.
Look, sister,
Because
is any
like
of
she
this
doesn't.
filtering through that little blue bonnet of yours?
You know, hello, really, Jake? Dude works for CNN. You know, yeah. What she does, and what they all do though, is they're so arrogant and they're so wrapped up in who they think they are that if you dare disagree with these women, this is how insecure they really are. If you disagree with them, they lump you in with a group of people they consider hateful so they can ignore your feedback and keep on going. It's kind of like what the left has always done with people they disagree with. Dehumanize, objectify, ignore. Done. And when Jake crossed the line with her, well, he became the enemy, and to her, the enemy is all right. Pretty pathetic. Pretty weak. Pretty Linda Sarsour. Right. You know, I'm going to take a short break. And speaking of Linda Sarsour, when we come back, we're going to do this week's Top 10 Douchebags. So stay put, and I'll be right back.
Bunny's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Hey, hi, can you help me? What's your name? My name's Roosevelt Lee Roosevelt. Roosevelt, what town are you stationed in? I'm stationed in Poontang. Well, thank you, Roosevelt. What's the weather like out there? It's hot. Damn hot. Real hot. Hotter than this is my shorts. I can cook things in it. Little crotch pot cooking. Well, can you tell me what it feels like? Fool, what is hot? I told you again. Were you born on the sun?
It's hot. It's Africa hot. Oh my gosh, and we're back on FUBAR, One Nation Under Foo. Thank you for staying with us. We are still on KLRNradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. Looking in the chat, hello, you lovely chat. I see all of you in there. Hello, Rebecca and Persnickety. I see all of you in there. And thank you, Derp State, for posting Linda Sarsour's tweet where she says, Jake Tapper joins the ranks of the alt-right to target me online. Welcome to the party. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, she's a douchebag. Oh, and she did make the list this week, guys, so that works out nicely. And speaking of the list, each week on FUBAR, we do what's called a Top 10 Douchebags of the Week. And this information actually comes from you good people in social media. Basically what it does is it gives y'all a chance to be part of the show and help me put the show together. And it's really fun, actually, because, you know, when you're one person looking at the news and reading through social media, you see one side of most everything. And I totally forget things. I'm getting old. That's part of it. And I'm like, oh, I forgot that happened this week. Yeah, that guy was a douchebag. Thanks for sending that. So every week I'm going to ask y'all to send me your nominations, and I'll pick the top 10, and we'll go through them on the show. And again, it's kind of your way of being part of this craziness that we call FUBAR. All right, and this is this week's Top 10 Douchebags. At number 10 is Bill Nye. Oh, Bill Nye, the not-so-science guy. I guess he got an Emmy nomination for his gross show. Actually, also, before I came on, he was talking about on social media how we need more old people to die so that we can start working on climate change stuff. Yeah. So not only does his crap show earn an Emmy nomination, and it is a crap show. It's awful. If you get a chance and you want to throw up and you feel like you need to throw up, feel free to watch it. It's on Netflix. But he also said this was like literally right before I came on, I saw a tweet about him saying that more of you old people need to die So would you old people please get on that so we can save the planet and stuff? Because Bill Nye, the Science Guy, is a douchebag at number 10. At number 9 is Jodi Allard, A-L-L-A-R-D. You probably don't know who she is unless you are on Twitter and saw an article that she wrote about an article that she wrote before, wounding her 2 sons so badly that one of them was suicidal. Jodi is a feminist, and a while back she wrote a piece about, I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically she has 2 sons, and she wrote the entire piece that she put out for the public to read about how awful and gross and how much she hates having boys, basically. That she was scared of her sons, that they were going to turn into monsters. And guess her kids saw this, her sons did see this. And then so she wrote another one about how her kids saw this and how she felt bad, but she still sees them basically as predators because they're boys. Because, men are born to attack and they have no self-control and they're just monsters and animals. And, can you imagine being so mentally ill and so wrapped up in a ridiculous narrative that you would attack your own children and then go public with that attack? I think she's gross and awful. It made me so angry that I wrote a blog in first person for the site where I don't write in first person because I have a son. I am a mom. I have a little boy. He's 10. He is amazing and wonderful and charming and funny, and he can fart on command. He is the light of my life. And to watch this woman write an article about how much she hates men and despises that she has sons infuriated me. What a gross person, what an ugly agenda, what a nasty narrative, and what a giant douchebag Jodi Allard you are at number 9. At number 8 is Mark Lamont Hill. Mark Lamont Hill is a CNN, a commentator is what they call him. Mark is also a big old fan of Assata Shakur, who is the woman that the Women's March had a big old boner for and celebrated her birthday. She's the cop killer. Well, Mark Lamont Hill doesn't think she's guilty, even though she's on the FBI's most wanted list where the Obama administration put her. So it's not a race thing, Mark, no. And she went to Cuba because, she's innocent. She's going to go hang out and live in Cuba because it's so awesome and bitchin' to live in Cuba. Well, Mark Lamont Hill got really bent out of shape when people were angry about Women's March celebrating Assata Shakur. And so he went on Twitter and he's like, you people are so dumb. I'm just going to have this argument. You don't know. And he calls her queen and you can't touch her and all this crap. But again, he's a CNN guy. Lots of CNN idiots out there, kind of like Sally Cohn, who did not make the list, but we can mention her here because she stands with Linda Sarsour, even though Linda doesn't like Jews. And we all know Sally Cohn is a Jew. I don't get it. I don't understand these people. I don't know what they get out of it or why they do the things they do with their opinions. Like Mark Lamont Hill had to know people were going to get pissed at him. Maybe because they're douchebags. And Mark is a douchebag at number 8. Number 7 is Rosie O'Donnell. Now, I have to tell you, about a week ago, maybe not quite a week ago, I suddenly noticed that Rosie O'Donnell was following me on Twitter. Yeah, I was like, whoa, what the hell? Because I write about her a good deal. She is great for traffic because she does a lot of stupid things. And suddenly she was following me. And I even sent her a tweet and I said, hey, I know I'm just going to piss you off, so maybe not, but hey, thanks for the follow. She's still following me, which I can't believe, but there she is. And today though, Rosie made the news because Rosie was pushing a game where you got to kill Donald Trump. Yeah, woman is unhinged. I get it. I'm not a fan of all the things Trump has said. I'm not a fan of all the things he has done. But I'm not a lunatic. I'm not out there pushing a game where I can kill the president and where I have millions of followers, where I am a celebrity, where I think there is some responsibility not to be a dumbass, right? And I get it. Rosie has a personal issue with Donald. They've been fighting and having issues for years. He said some horrible things about her. She said some horrible things back. They kind of deserve each other if you think about it. But you don't go on social media and push a game where you can kill the president. You just don't do that. It's stupid because, people are going to take you seriously. Maybe she missed it, but about a month ago, crazy Bernie Sanders guy went and shot at a bunch of Republicans. One of them still in the hospital. You don't play these games, Rosie, and you're a douchebag at number 7. Number 6 is Donna Brazile. Now, I got to be honest, this was my own selfish little ad because Donna was tweeting about how the communists are running the debate now. The whole with Trump and Russia, and she's she's on Twitter saying how the Russians, the communists, are running the debate. Now, what is funny about Donna Brazile complaining about somebody else running a debate? What did Donna Brazile do with a debate where she got in trouble? And didn't she lose her job? Yeah, she did. And that makes her a douchebag at number 6. Number 5 is Ann Coulter. I'm sorry, you guys, if you're an Ann Coulter fan, God love you. She has in the past written some things that I actually enjoyed reading. I used to buy her books a long time ago. Sort of fell out of love with her during the whole primary and then the election. Not a fan of somebody who would be okay with Donald Trump performing abortions in the Oval Office, So kind of drifted away from being an Ann Coulter supporter. But she made the list this week because, and I'm sure unless you live under a rock, which is you do, God bless you, but she went on an airplane, on a Delta plane, and they'd given her seat away to some woman, and Ann was not happy. Granted, anybody in this same situation is probably going to be pissed off if you've paid for a seat and they've given your seat away. Fair to get mad about it. Probably not fair, though, to take pictures of the people who have the seats, then go onto social media, scream about said people everywhere, basically dox these people, scream at Delta, and pretend it's because she's a conservative that they gave her seat away. Come on. There are more important things in this world to be outraged about, Ann. And I get it. You're not happy with what's going on with Trump and the country. And you got lots of things that are taking you off. But take a chill pill. And you're a douchebag at number 5. At number 4 is Diana Orrick. I don't know if you know who she is or not, but Diana is, Republican National Committee woman of Nevada. And basically another woman said that she wished that John McCain would effing die already. And Diana said, amen. Gosh, didn't go over so hot. Yeah, a lot of people have issues with John McCain. John McCain is like Democrat, Republican light, does a lot of things you don't agree with. But you don't see people wishing him death, especially not a national committee woman for the Republican Party. Probably not a good idea. So she's a douchebag at number 4. Oh, she did apologize, by the way. She did go on TV and was like, I'm really sorry, I'm an idiot. But she's still a douchebag at number 4. Number 3 is Louise Mensch. OMG, folks, OMG. Louise has gone completely psycho. I don't know if you saw this, but apparently Steve Bannon is going to be eventually put to death for treason or whatever it is she thinks he did, and that Giuliani sung to get out of it so he wouldn't get killed, and all this stuff's going on. And we already knew she was kind of losing her marbles, but to go on Twitter and talk to some other blue check mark about Steve Bannon being killed over treason and acting like this is reality, I don't know if she's so much a douchebag as if she's insane, but we'll still call her a douchebag at number 3. Number 2 is the GOP. Ain't nobody happy with the GOP, folks. How many times did they vote a clean repeal under Obama of Obamacare? 56, 57 times. Clean repeal. 56 times. They have all the authority in the world. And what do? They piss down their legs and they don't repeal the bill. Now, everyone's talking about these brave women who protected the country. And what they don't understand is that a lot of people voted no against the original bill because we need to repeal Obamacare. We have a real problem in the GOP right now. We have all this authority, all this power, and we're not doing anything with it that we're supposed to do. We're not doing anything that we promised the people we would do. All these campaigns, for how many years were we electing people based on the fact that they would go in and they would repeal Obamacare? And guess what? They didn't do it. For whatever reason, they're not going to do it. So they're douchebags at number 2. And it rolls into number 1 really easy because it's Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer. Chuck Clowney Schumer and Mitch McConnell. You know, it's easy to put Chuck on the list because Chuck gets out of bed and he's a douchebag first thing in the morning. He drinks his coffee. He's still a douchebag. It's like that's his thing. He's a douche. Mitch McConnell, we've been talking about for a lot of years because he's kind of a dirty, big government guy. Remember when he was out there basically trashing Tea Party candidates to stay in power? Just a real ugly situation we have. And, you know, it's not even funny to call them douchebags because it's supposed to be like, ha ha, douchebags are funny. And these guys aren't funny anymore because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So maybe they're not so much douchebags as they are jerkwads or assholes or something along those lines. We'll have to figure that out for them. But that is this week's top 10 douchebags. Now, if you want to call them douchebags, that's on you. I'm going to take a short break. And then when I come back, I have two badass chicks from Misfit Politics. I have JR and Momo. So stay put. We'll be right back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Bunny's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Guess who's back?
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Cause I've heard it all.
No way.
And I've been down there on the floor. No one's ever gonna keep me down again. Whoa, yes, I'm wise.
Woman, hear me roar, la 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 la. Yeah, I'm gonna sing for like a half hour now. Lucky you guys. And we're back. Thank you for staying put through that little break. On the line with me, I have Jen and I have Mo. Ladies, are you there?
Yes, hello.
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 Hey, I've got you both. How are you? We'll do one at a time. Jen, how are you?
I'm doing really great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Oh, I love that you're here. And Mo, how are you, dear?
I'm wonderful, and I also am happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're wonderful and both happy to be here. I'm so happy that you're both here. So, I asked you on for a couple of reasons. One, because I just adore both of you and I wanted to hang out. And the other reason was that I feel that more now than ever, and I thought this when Hillary was running, but I think that more now than ever, we have got to find a way as conservative women to get out there and spread message. And I guess what I'm looking for from you guys are issues that are important to you that you feel like we could say more about than we have an opportunity so far, like with the wage gap or even with abortion. How do we get the conservative woman's message out? And how do we resonate with all these women who are hearing the garbage from like Women's March who have, the pretty pink vagina hats? How do we compete?
Well, I think one thing that we to do is take back some of the messaging. They are driving the narrative. They are shouting us down everywhere we go. I mean, whether it's social media or whether it's you see someone trying to defend, conservative principles on Fox News or on CNN or wherever. I mean, it's everywhere where it's being shouted down. It's almost like a dirty thing to say, right?
Right.
Just walk into a room. Do you feel comfortable that the person who's ordering Starbucks in line behind you, if you say, something about being conservative or if you make a pro-life comment? So there's got to be a way where we take that back so that, they hold everybody. The left holds the right responsible for anything and everything that they can remotely link to them that is bad. They have done a great job of separating themselves to where that's an individual thing. They're not representative of the party or the ideology, but on the right, we're forced to own any of it. And they've been really successful at that, partially because of their control on media. But in general, they've just been very successful at tying that down, and then add to it, like you were talking about earlier, talking about how conservative women aren't real women, and we're not, we don't support our own interests. We don't support, our own gender.
Right.
So, which I guess is kind of a dirty word because there's 5,800 genders.
Well, wait. Which gender are we talking about? Because we have to get that straight first. So, and I think I had Austin Peters on, hello, Political Hot News, like 3 weeks ago. And Austin said that one of our big issues is that our message is not sexy. And I guess responsibility is not the sexiest thing to push, really. Hey, you can be responsible for your life, and if you screw up, you get to pay for it. Rock on. I mean, how do you do that? Hey, Mo.
Yeah.
I'm actually really curious to hear your view on the message and how can we make it sexier? Can we make it more appealing to other women? I mean, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah. So, I think some of it is they are starting to really trip over themselves. That's kind of the sense I get. I mean, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I get the sense that they're starting to push it so far that they're really turning people off to it. Yeah. To me, growing up in the 70s, there was kind of this very strong and odd feminism message where, like girls are just as good as boys are and they should have the opportunities that boys do. And it wasn't this kind of like bizarre Marxist message that the feminists have now. And choices, I think, is, people respond to the idea that what they should have are choices. And right now, that's not what feminists are pushing. They're not pushing for women to have choices. They're pushing for women to do what's good for the collective. I mean, they're basically Marxists in feminist clothing. They're the argument is, I was just looking at an article that was published in the Daily Telegraph a few months ago, where in Australia, where the argument was it should be against the law for women to stay home because it's bad for it's bad for feminism. I mean, it's bad for women's rights. I mean, it's basically a collective. You have to do what's good for the collective rights of women. kind of notion. And I think that's a turnoff for people. I think people don't like being told that they don't have choices. And I think we could grab back kind of this message of, what we are about is about letting people make their lives what they want their lives to be, letting people have opportunities to make choices that where they're not forced into, you have to be this type of woman, or you have to be you have to be a working woman because it's bad for the cause if you're not. I mean, it should be about inclusiveness and choices. That's kind of.
See, that's way sexier than saying, "Hey, be responsible for yourselves." Amen. And it's funny because you bring up the idea that you grew up in the 70s, and I did too, actually. And I kind of remember the whole that women deserve to be equal, but it was never this overreaching obnoxiousness that you see now.
Right.
Between you shouldn't stay at home because it's bad for women's rights, or what was it, Joan Walsh bitching about Ivanka's dress being too girly. It's like feminists are freaking mean, and maybe that's just me, but it feels like all they do is attack people, that their whole message has become, you're not what we want you to be, so we're going to destroy you. Am I just paranoid? Because it kind of feels like that with me. They're like, I'm going to take your vagina away. I'm like, well, come get it, And it feels like it's violent almost.
I think that's exactly right, and I think that kind of fits in with what you were talking about earlier, which is this idea that you can only have this set of beliefs and be a true woman, right? I mean, that's kind of the essence of what they're saying. You can't think like we do, or you're not a real woman, and you aren't doing what's right for women. And that to me is that is a turnoff. That's a put off for people who really don't think that way. And one of the things that I feel like we need to do that we don't do is we're too afraid of that tag to kind of stand up and say, this is what I think, and be rational and reasonable and kind of straightforward. This is what I think. I don't think you're right about this. Women should have choices, because we're so afraid of getting shouted down.
Yeah. And
that's where we can kind of take back the message.
And I think, though, you're right, because we have spent so much time getting shouted down. Just even earlier talking about Alyssa Milano saying, hey, we need more Republican women in Congress. And we're like, hey, guess what? Being a Republican woman kind of sucks, and here's why. And she was clueless to this. So, I mean, one of the gals, it was Jen Jake. I don't know if you know Jen, but she was talking about, Jen is a very outspoken Second Amendment right advocate. And more often than not, she's being told by other women to stick a gun in her mouth and kill herself because she doesn't follow along with their narrative. And it was all over this thread. And it's not, we aren't just getting shouted down anymore. Now we're getting threatened. So, when you speak up, you become kind of this target. Do you think they're doing that because they're scared of what we're saying, that we're not falling in line, that maybe there is some momentum that I'm just not aware of coming up?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think some of it is also that they are really, and because I have some people in my life that are like this, and I mean, they are radical Women's March type people, and they really truly believe that they are so incredibly right. Yeah. And we are so terribly wrong that we shouldn't even be considered. We should never be given a platform, and everything that we say is invalid. I mean, it's a true conviction and belief with a lot of these people that they're
sexist.
Yes.
They're sexist.
I find it interesting that it's such a contradiction, right? We're told that women are powerful and strong and smart and unstoppable.
Yeah.
But also, by the way, you're completely helpless and you can't decide for yourself how you think and you believe what you believe.
And the government should pay for our birth control.
And
we should have all these
be held responsible to their own birth control. It's so condescending. It's so insulting. They might as well. They might as well just do like those older men in the offices and pat us on the heads and say, little lady, sit down right here and I'm going to tell you what's up.
It wouldn't go real well if they did that. No, it would be bad.
Will you stifle yourself?
It would be a fist fight. And I just don't, I struggle with this. It's like with all of the Planned Parenthood stuff and Cecil Richards swearing up and down that this bazillion women are going to die if they get defunded, and all these women are getting this great care. And these women, these bitches, excuse me, they buy it. They sell it. They push it. It makes me insane that this is somehow, this woman, a proponent of death, represents women's rights and represents powerful women and getting care. I don't know how we get around that, because, you know, we go out and we say, life is great. Women are powerful because we can create life. Men can't do that. We have something they can't do. And they act like it's something bad. How do we change that narrative? How do we get around the killing your baby is wrong for convenience without being mean about it too? Because I think we lose women when we become too self-righteous. You know, well, you killed your baby, you slut, I'm done with you. How do we balance that between, you know, it's wrong to kill a baby because you're not ready to have a baby and you're a slut. You know, how do you that's kind of how we, and I hate to say that, but it's kind of how we come off sometimes. It's like, be responsible for yourself, slut. Don't do that. And it doesn't work. So how do we say, please stop killing your babies, 97% of you who are doing it out of convenience, you sluts, and take responsibility for your life, and we're here for you. I mean, it's such a hard thing. And I know I'm unique, and that I'm not the most approachable and tolerant person all the time. So I'm sorry I called you sluts. I apologize. But how do we get around that?
Well, I do think that. Go ahead,
Jen. Sorry. I was just going to say, I grew up in the pro-life movement. I mean, I grew up in it, so I've seen kind of the sea change through my entire life. My mother was very active in the pro-life movement from Roe versus Wade on. So I knew about it like growing up. I knew what it was, and I knew kind of how bad it was, and I've always been against it. So I've kind of watched the trajectory of the movement and of the pro-choice movement. And this is another area where I think it's the same as the feminist message overall, which is they're going too far. They had kind of a grip on people when they were making the safe, legal, but rare argument, but they didn't mean it. I mean, that's not what they wanted. What they really want is eugenics. I mean, and I'm not talking about all of them, but I'm talking about a good chunk of them, and most of the people kind of at the top of that movement want eugenics. They want basically, and this has become more and more clear over the last several years, and just these past couple of weeks, there have been multiple arguments made about basically aborting the poor out of existence, as if that's some sort of solution to the problem. And so some of it is them, some of it is them tripping over themselves. And I do think that right now the pro-life movement has kind of a new life to it because they've been fighting so hard, they've been fighting reasonable and normal, like what normal people would think are rational, backstops on abortion, like hospital privileges and things like that. They've been fighting so hard against that they've kind of lost their grip on the narrative.
And you have people who are pro-life who are saying, you know what, we're happy to how about a ban at 20 weeks? We're happy, let's compromise, let's save some lives.
Right.
And you know what, most legislation exempts rape or incest or health issues, and we want to work with you because we want to save some lives. So I think you're right. I think there is momentum in that regard.
There's definitely momentum. I mean, at the state level, it's absolutely, state by state, there's been a lot of progress made on kind of pulling back on abortions. And, obviously some of that is tripped up by what the Supreme Court does, but there's definitely been progress in that area. Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, Jen, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
Talking.
There's three of us. It's going to get messy. Go ahead. You're good, Jen.
Well, I was going to say, I do think that there is momentum. I think there's also a resurgence. I mean, it has become, I've got some younger cousins that are high school, college aged, and a lot of them are girls. And this is now something that is not so, it's becoming a little bit less taboo to be, you know, it was taboo to be pro-abortion. Now it's become, then it became taboo to be pro-life.
Right.
And now it's becoming a little bit less, at least in the younger crowds. And it's becoming a little bit less. They're a little bit more just interested and talk about their admiration for someone who keeps a baby or who, you know, and I think some of it's because a lot of this younger generation, they've been raised by single mothers.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of one-parent households. There's been a lot of broken families, and they cherish their relationship with their parents so much. They're so grateful to them, to all that they've given up. And look at how they sacrificed for me. And so I think there is a connection there in their brains about how they could have not done that, how they could have said no. How they could have never brought them onto this planet. And so I think that it's starting to resonate a little bit more. I think starting to value life a little bit more. Of course, the far crazy left is always going to be far crazy and radical.
And left.
And left. I think that there is, I think one thing that we really have to work on in the pro-life movement is that these girls won't be scared to death and feel like they will be shunned if they do make a mistake.
Yeah. I agree.
If they do get careless. I mean, the careless things that all of us did at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
You know, any one of us is lucky, you know, maybe it didn't involve sex and pregnancy, but any one of us is lucky to have gotten out of childhood and adolescence, you know,
alive.
Right.
Yeah.
So
no kidding.
We really they have to know that when we say we're compassionate and we value life, we mean theirs too.
Yeah.
And that is important for them to understand. And I think that being able to be that way and also forgiving women that have made the decision to abort, being able to reach out to them and say, you know, I still care about you. I hope that you're okay. And what can I do to help you be okay? I think all of these things are really important, and they get lost in the fray of lobbing all the bombs at each other. And by the way, the facts are on our side. History is going to be on our side. I have no doubt.
Oh, I think you bring up a great point. And, you know, when you're in the battle and it's 140 characters and some woman has just said something horrible to you and you tell her to, you know, hey, go ahead and abort yourself, just leave the baby alone. You know, I get that that's not where we are all the time. And it's interesting you bring up a compassion piece. I think of my mother-in-law, who I call St. Constance. She's wonderful. She's amazing. And she was at church and she was reading, and I can't remember what it's called. My husband would strangle me, but she was giving the devotion that day or whatever. And they had written out something about how she was supposed to say something about women who have had abortions, you know, pray for them in hell or whatever it was. It was something awful. And she changed it and she said, you know, let us show them compassion and love and pray for their healing, and completely change the tone. And I think that's what we have to do with pro-life, is change that tone. And when we're angry at the loss of life, we're angry that people can't be responsible. And the women who are out there with jars of piss saying abortion on demand, that's who we're really screaming at. We're not screaming at the young girl who's 18 and scared and pregnant. And I think we have to, that's a really good point.
We just have to remember that not everyone are those people, you know.
It's really hard because they are the loudest.
They are the loudest and they are the most outrageous. And so our anger, and our anger and disgust is valid. Mm-hmm. That is completely valid, but it will fall. Some people are, and especially the younger generation, you know, they may not separate the two, that they're not yelling at me, you know, so it's just a hard thing to have to navigate.
That's true. And I think the other big part about it is they don't necessarily, when they're in that moment, these women, you know, who are pregnant and they're scared and they really don't know what to do because they're not in a position to be able to take care of the baby. It is a hard decision for them when there's a lot of excuses made for, you know, abortion is one of those things that's I don't think generally acceptable, but it seems easier for a lot of women when and it's easier to kind of fool yourself into thinking of that you're not really doing what you're doing, especially when it's early in the pregnancy. And so I'm firmly of the belief that we should be supporting these women and helping them and not judging them, even if they make a decision that we don't like.
Sure.
Because they hurt, because it's because then they're isolated when they do it. If they do it, most of them are traumatized by it, and they're isolated, and it's just, I mean, it's a horrible thing. I like to think of women as being kind of their own stewards of their lives, but sometimes they're almost victims because they are so scared and they don't know what to do, and they need support, and then they do something that they regret for the rest of their lives. It's a permanent thing.
Well, I think what makes all of us on the pro-life side so angry in those situations is that people like Cecil Richards and Planned Parenthood, they will take advantage of those girls and be like, well, abortion is not a big deal, and they're not really a baby, and it's simple, and it's over really quick, and it'll solve all your problems. They're selling them abortion. They're telling them this is the easy way to go. They're telling them there's nothing wrong with it. There's really no support there. And then they'll turn around, though, and say, we care about women and we'll protect their right to have abortions because they want them to have abortions.
Yeah, they don't take care of these women after. No. They can't admit that it's a trauma to many, many women, and they won't take care of them after. No. They push them. They push them in the shadows. We should not be. We should be helping these women.
You need to write that down, Mo, that Planned Parenthood puts these women in the shadows. I absolutely love that. That will make them insane. You ladies, I've only got a couple minutes left, and it went by way too fast. You're going to have to come back. I do want you to tell people how they can find you, because I think both of you have so much more to say than 20 minutes allows you to say. So, Jen, where do people find you?
Come find me on Twitter at jhomestead, and then keep up with both of us on misfitspolitics.com and follow our main account at Misfits Politics. We engage in a lot of shenanigans and try to make politics a little bit more fun.
And Mo?
Yeah, I'm at MOLRATTY on Twitter, and also at Misfits Politics. And I'm just going to give a shout out to Jen, because she is she was the kind of the brainchild of the whole thing, and it's been tremendous. I know we've already been through this with G, but she's just, the woman is amazing.
She is.
She is a ball of energy. I don't know where she gets it.
I don't know where she's one of those little tiny energetic people.
That's exactly
you
right.
Are too. You are too.
Oh no, not anymore. But no, you both are such a joy, and it's one of those things where like you're on Twitter and it's constant. Everyone's angry and screaming at each other and trying to kill each other verbally. And I look over at Misfit Politics and it's, hey, share a GIF of your husband doing something stupid, and you're like, ah ha ha ha, and you could spend 20 minutes just reading fun stuff and letting it all go. And for people like me and it's my own fault, I'm not being a victim, I engage dummies, but that little break that Misfit Politics allows, and plus your site. I love your site and the blogs and all the people you bring in. You do such amazing things, and you make politics fun, and politics can really suck. So
right, and I think that was mainly it. It was like everybody's getting so bogged down. So let's try to take a break every now and then, and we can kind of do it under this banner, and then still write serious stuff and have our serious arguments. So
the most powerful blogger, and I know I need to let you guys go, I got like a minute, but I have to tell you, the most powerful blog I read about Charlie Gard was on your site, where it was the man who wrote a letter to his son. He was being put to death for protecting. I cried like a baby when I read that letter.
Oh my gosh, CDP, his talent. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. But you guys have a ton of that on your site. You have such great writers and such great content, and you make me laugh. And I wish I could spend the next half hour talking to you, but I got to let you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Both of you, please come back.
Same here.
All right, I'll talk to you guys on Twitter. Behave.
Okay.
That's how you laugh. Bye, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I love those ladies. I'm serious. If you get a chance, look up Misfit Politics. They have the best blog. They have the best Twitter feed. They will make you laugh. They will keep you laughing, and you'll learn a thing or two, which is kind of what I try to do, but I'm not nearly as brilliant as those people. So give them a chance. You guys, I appreciate you being here again live this week. Next week I'll be back with Chad Felix Green. If you don't know who Chad is, check him out on Twitter. He's gay, Jewish, and he is like the left's worst nightmare. He's wonderful. He'll be on next week. Thank you for being here live. Looking at you all in the chat room, you are some funny people. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk about the DOJ seizing assets. We'll get to that another week. I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Stay out of jail. Keep your sense of humor. I'll talk to you next week. Take care.